Dear aspirants, it's me Ashif KP. Welcome to Learning Radius. International issues. How to approach international issues. How to read newspaper. How to get the right answers right from the question paper when you attend the exam. This is a $1,000,000 question in UPSC preliminary examinations. In this demo session, I'll be discussing 6 topics and I'll be relating that 6 topics in connection with the question paper 2. And we'll be discussing what is the possibility of getting question from this particular 6 topics. And the remaining topic I'll be discussing in the coming current affairs session, which we are going to start on 12 July 2021.
Dear aspirants, International Relations 2021. In today's discussion, we'll be looking into 5 topics. United Nations first ever guidelines on access to social justice for people with disabilities, River Teesta dispute or Teesta River dispute, United Nations Security Council 1267 Committee, International Energy Security Conference 2020, Qatar labor laws reforms. This all were last year's discussion, 2020 discussion, which predominantly happened during the time of August and September 2020. We'll be looking into United Nations first ever guidelines on access to social justice for people with disabilities. What is it about? And what the news came in connection with that in newspaper? And what are the possibilities of getting question from that particular angle? In the same manner, we'll look into River Teesta dispute, then United Nations Security Council 1267 Committee, then International Energy Security Conference 2020, then Qatar labor laws reforms. When it comes to UN guidelines, now here this is important because for the first time United Nations is coming with an exclusive guidelines to social justice for people with disabilities. The news was like this: the United Nations has outlined a set of 10 principles for implementation of its first ever guidelines on access to social justice for people with disabilities. In our future current affair discussion, which starts on 12 July 2020, we'll be providing the complete material. So aspirant has to listen to the discussion. At the same time, you should incorporate the significance and you can write down the significant topic too. Other than that, listening is the most important thing. Rest material will be supported by the team Learning Radius. Now, the news came on 31st August 2020 related to the same was UN guidelines on access to social justice for people with disabilities. The United Nations has outlined a set of 10 principles for implementation of its first ever guidelines on access to social justice for people with disabilities. So people with disabilities as it is in news, at the same time the UN principles as it is in news. And the newspaper cutting, police officers assist a voter in a wheelchair at a polling station during election in Mumbai. This was the news and the related picture. And the 10 principles, right from the material you had to read and understand the 10 principles by the UN or the 10 principles exclusively for social justice given by UN has to be understood. There is a chance to get option related to the 10 principles, which all are the recent principles by UN. UPSC can ask in that particular manner. So there should be a thorough clarity regarding the principle 1, principle 2, principle 3, principle 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10. Read and understand, and study with clarity. Then after moving from the principles, then how does UN define a person with disability? That is a related discussion. When it comes to that particular discussion, how UN define a person with disability, the UN Convention on Right of Persons with Disabilities, which was adopted in 2007 as the first major instrument of human rights in the 21st century, that is important. Why? Because that defines person with disabilities as such. So related to the current affair of UN or related to the current affair of 10 principles from UN, you as an aspirant should have understanding regarding the UN Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities, which was adopted in 2007. At the same time, from mains perspective, at the same time, prelims perspective, what does discrimination on the basis of disability means? So there can be a possibility, or the UPSC can ask a question in connection with discrimination on the basis of disability. And what does it mean? when we can tell the discrimination is on the basis of disability. And right from the side of UN, there's a clear explanation to that. I'll just read. Discrimination on the basis of disability means any distinction, exclusion, or restriction on the basis of disability which has the purpose or effect of impairing or nullifying the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise on an equal basis with others of all human rights and fundamental freedom in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil or any other field. It also includes all forms of discrimination, including denial of reasonable accommodation, states the UN. So this clarity should be there because UPSC can frame beautiful statements in connection with explanation by UN. So I'm moving to the next topic. So here, the first topic, UN with a guideline. The 10 guidelines should be very clear. There should be crystal clarity in that particular 10 guideline. At the same time, the term disability should be clear. And from that UN definition of disability and UN Convention on Right of Person with Disability, which was adopted in 2007, should be clear. And what does discrimination on the basis of disability mean? That is also should be very clear in your mind. Next topic is related to geography. You can tell it's a topic related to environment too. It's Teesta River dispute. We can tell the discussion is like this. Bangladesh is discussing an almost $1 billion loan from China for a comprehensive management and restoration project on the Teesta River. So in international discussion, India, China, India, Bangladesh, Bangladesh, China is very, very important. And here it's a discussion where India, China, and Bangladesh, all the three countries as it is there. And Bangladesh is discussing an almost $1 billion loan from China for a comprehensive management and restoration project on the Teesta River is the discussion of current affair. The project is aimed at managing the river basin efficiently, controlling flood and tackling the water crisis in summers. India and Bangladesh have been engaged in a long-standing dispute over water sharing in the Teesta. So Teesta River, right from geographic perspective also, has to be understood. Now, what is the relation with Bangladesh and China? China is the biggest trading partner of Bangladesh and is the foremost source of import. Last year, that is in 2020, UPSC asked question related to India-Sri Lanka relationship, India-Bangladesh relationship, India-Nepal relationship. In that, they made a question related to India-Bangladesh and its textiles, that is India-Bangladesh relationship in connection with textiles. That was the statement. So India, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, India, China, all are very, very important. So China is the biggest trading partner of Bangladesh and is the foremost source of import. Recently, China declared a zero duty on 97% of import from Bangladesh. The concession flowed from China's duty-free, quota-free program for the least developed countries. China is the biggest arms supplier to Bangladesh. This is some facts related to China and Bangladesh relationship. Now, back to the discussion, back to Teesta once again. Teesta River dispute was there in news right from August onwards. What does Chinese interest in Teesta mean for India? This was the discussion in Hindu newspaper in 23rd August 2020. And in that discussion, the significant question after giving the Teesta's picture was, why have negotiations between New Delhi and Dhaka on the Himalayan river not progressed over the years? So the discussion was related to Teesta. At the same time, they are asking a question, why have negotiation between New Delhi and Dhaka on the Himalayan river not progressed over the year? So as an aspirant, you should have an idea about India-Bangladesh relationship, at the same time the river Teesta. Now in the newspaper also, they have clearly given what's a discussion as such. The story so far is India's Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla paid a 2-day visit to Bangladesh capital Dhaka on Tuesday and Wednesday and discussed a 2-year roadmap for bilateral relations. The visit took place amid report that Bangladesh is likely to receive assistance from China for $1 billion for an irrigation project on the Teesta, which has been at the center of water sharing negotiation with India. During Mr. Shringla's visit, a host of issues were discussed, but not Teesta. So everybody expected Teesta will be there in discussion. They discussed a lot of other areas other than Teesta. So as an aspirant, you should have a clarity regarding the issue between India and Bangladesh on Teesta and Bangladesh is going to get an assistance of $1 billion right from China in connection with an irrigation project on Teesta. So why is a river management project necessary? The Teesta River is significant, and the Teesta makes headlines every monsoon as dozens of villages and townships along its banks in Bangladesh are affected. So Teesta is very, very significant as far as Bangladesh is concerned. At the same time, river management or Teesta management is very important as far as Bangladesh is concerned, because during every monsoon, because of Teesta, Bangladesh is getting affected. And in the newspaper, they discussed about, will the Chinese project hurt India's negotiation with Bangladesh on Teesta water sharing? What is the status of India's Bangladesh talks on Teesta? So these all are right from Main's perspective. Why is there an impression that Chinese project will neutralize the Teesta water sharing negotiation between India and Bangladesh? So will it affect India? So here River Teesta is in discussion, and now River Teesta is in discussion because it is going to get a fund and try to have more clarity regarding River Teesta right from geography perspective. The rest I mentioned. The next discussion is related to UN Security Council 1267 Committee. The UN Security Council, led by France, UK, and US, has rejected all Pakistan's attempt to list Indians as designated terrorists under its 1267 Committee for Counter-Terrorism Sanction. This was the discussion, and this was the news related to UNSC 1267 Committee. Let's go to its newspaper discussion. On September 3rd, 2020, United Nations Security Council 1267 Committee was there in discussion. And in Hindu newspaper, this was the heading: United Nations Security Council rejects Pakistan attempt to name Indians on terrorist list. The UN Security Council, led by France, UK, and United States, has rejected all Pakistan attempt to list Indians as designated terrorists under its 1267 Committee for Counter-Terrorism Sanctions. So we should have a fundamental idea regarding what does this 1267 Committee. At the same time, there should be clarity regarding United Nations Charter, the function and the powers of the Security Council. The United Nations Charter, function and powers of the Security Council should be clear, because UNSC 1267 were there in the news. Right, with the help of the material, you can read and understand the functions in connection with United Nations Charter, and try to read more on UN, because UN as such is there in the discussion in different aspect in August 2020. Now, when we come to Qatar, the discussion is related to Qatar labor laws. Now, Qatar labor laws is in discussion. The kafala system is in discussion, and two aspects of discussion is supposed to be there in your mind. One is Qatar labor laws as it is reformed, and entire thing is changed in Qatar right from 2019 onwards. That's a one-side discussion. The other side, labor laws are reformed, but it is not down to the people. People are still suffering. The migrants are still suffering. That's the other side of discussion. And the kafala system is also under discussion for the last 2-3 years in the newspaper. Now, when you look into the news, the very recent news related to the Qatar labor laws reforms, you can see no rights despite reforms on Qatar labor laws by Vani Saraswati, 23rd March 2021, The Hindu. In this very recent article, it is telling no right despite reforms on Qatar labor laws. The labor law reform being celebrated in Qatar falls short of upholding the basic right of migrant workers. So GCC is in discussion. GCC has to be study the nature and character of GCC. At the same time, the Qatar labor laws reforms, the kafala system which I mentioned has to be understood. I'll explain what is this kafala system also. The first reform has abolished the unjustified kafala system, or requirement for a no objection certificate that migrant workers needed to get from their employers before changing jobs. Now, workers will have to serve a 1-month notice period if they have worked for less than 2 years, and notice period of 2 months if they have worked longer. So they have abolished the kafala system, what I mentioned right now. Now there is no kafala system there in Qatar, according to the explanation of the Qatar administration, and this is in connection with the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Qatar is hosting the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and in the run-up to the sporting event that is viewed by more than half of the global population, the country has faced flack for its labor laws, seen by many as being exploitative of migrant laborers. International Labour Organization has scaled the move and notes that Qatar is the first country in the region to dismantle the kafala sponsorship system that is common in Gulf region and requires workers to have a sponsor in the country they are working, whom then becomes responsible for their visa and legal status. So now the kafala system, as it is not the ILO as it is failing Qatar as a country. Now back to the discussion which came recently in the newspaper. No right despite reform on Qatar labor laws. In this particular article, they are telling that labor law reforms being celebrated in Qatar fall short of upholding the basic right of migrant workers. The reality in Qatar in connection with the labor laws as such is not that good. That is a recent discussion. And they are discussing about the nationalization of Qatar. At the same time, the kafala law, the kafala, at the same time, the FIFA World Cup, all this are in the background. The problem is viewed as one of inadequate legal protection, and the solution is framed as reforming or abolishing the kafala sponsorship system without acknowledging the many facets of various laws and practices that are the foundation of this system. This was the basic news behind. So when it comes to the Qatar labor laws, FIFA World Cup, obviously, there should be clarity. 2022 FIFA World Cup. Other than that, GCC, there should be clarity in the GCC. And what is kafala sponsorship system and what is the lacuna and why that is there in the discussion of ILO is also should be clear. I mentioned. Now the next topic is related to International Energy Security Conference 2020. International Energy Security Conference 2020 was recently organized by Global Counterterrorism Council, GCTC. Now when you look into the PIB 29 September 2020, International Energy Security Conference 2020, you can see in the PIB. The detailed explanation, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan says that Atmanirbhar Bharat will drive our effort in evolving a comprehensive energy security architecture in the country. Talks of all of the government approach in implementing Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative in energy sector. Minister delineates 5-pronged strategy to reduce crude oil import dependency. Country saved Rs 5,000 crore by taking the advantage of low crude oil prices in April and May 2020 to fill the existing strategic petroleum reserves. This was the main heading of PIB of 29 September 2020 news. And in detail, they have given in connection with the GCTC Energy Security Conference 2020. Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, today said that the clarion call given by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi for an Atmanirbhar Bharat will drive our efforts in evolving a comprehensive energy security architecture in the country. That is a comprehensive energy security architecture in the country in his keynotes address to GCTC Energy Security Conference 2020 organized by Global Counter-Terrorism Council. So there should be clarity. What is Atmanirbhar Bharat? Second one, what is GCTC Energy Security Conference? What is Global Counter-Terrorism Council? So what is Global Counter-Terrorism Council Energy Security Conference? There should be clarity in all these terms in connection with this current affairs. So when it comes to GCTC, Global Counter-Terrorism Council is a registered non-profit international think tank initiated by public-spirited individuals to awaken further issues of national interest and global conscious about terrorism as a threat to humanity, human security, etc. And in this particular GCTC, members belonging to different faculties and background, like senior bureaucrats, academicians, officers from the armed forces and paramilitary services, distinguished diplomat, leading researchers, media analysts, parliamentarians, professionals, corporate heads, human rights groups, all as such is a part of this GCTC. And what they do, they provide support and regularly contribute with the aim to deliberate on the root cause of global terrorism and to present effective solution to the problems faced by society and the government. So that's about Global Counter-Terrorism Council. And International Energy Security Conference 2020 happened. That was organized by GCTC. And in that, our minister explained the dimensions of India in connection with the same. So the minister delineates 5-pronged strategy to reduce crude oil import dependency. And countries saved Rs 5,000 crore by taking the advantage of low crude oil prices in April and May 2020 to fill the existing strategic petroleum reserve. That was a major heading right from the PIB in connection with International Energy Security Conference. So in connection with a current affair, the possibility of getting questionnaires related with that current affair. In the last 5 topics, I tried to convey what is the actual current affair, at the same time, how you can relate the current affairs to a static area. And from the static area, they can ask questions in which you require fundamental knowledge regarding that particular topic.
We had a detailed look on international issues topics of 2020. We had a look on 6 topics. And we related the 6 topics with newspaper. At the same time, what's the possibility of getting question also, I pointed out. And we'll have detailed discussion on this topic and the remaining topic in our coming current affairs session. And don't miss that particular session, which we are going to start on 12 July 2021. Have a very peaceful study, productive learning, happy learning to all. Thank you.